Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Steve the Missionary's Bathrobe Chat Live. Welcome to everyone. Welcome especially to Luke Carey, and I'll answer your text message when I feel like it. Also, I wasn't really sure how to answer your text message. So there. Welcome everybody coming. Today is an interesting day. Today is Amazon Prime Day, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And the reason that this is such a big deal in the thumbnail is I bought this on Amazon. So this is not going to be an anti-Amazon screed. I that's for when I drink with people a little too much. This is going to be just a little bit of a talk about stuff and our accumulation of stuff and the rights of workers, because why not? So, welcome, Sean. Welcome, Shaggy. Let's get started. Yeah, if you're the kind of person that does a lot of shopping online, this is a kind of a this is just a big sale that they have on Amazon, and lots of people buy into it, and they really knock down prices on really random things, I might add. And I remember last year on Prime Day, I'm sorting through just all these sales and all these deals, going like, what is this, and why do I need it, and why does anyone need this? Why is it on sale? Why did they think this would resonate with people? But they're looking at sales in the billions over the next 2 days of their Prime Day sales. So that's a people must really like what's going on Amazon Prime Day, and which goes to um, something something I want to talk about, which is our need for things and how that's what that does for everything around us. My dad loves buying stuff off of Amazon. My dad really loves 2 day shipping, and he's gotten stuff on 1 day shipping, where he ordered something in the morning and it got to the house before he came home from work that night. And even he, who like is in no way someone trying to find faults with our country's economic system or anything like that, he was shocked at how quickly stuff comes into the house, at how cheaply that all happens, and he can do the math of this. This shouldn't be like this. Somewhere something isn't adding up, and one of those places is the environment, and another one of those places is workers. Um, there's no way that um, everybody, including the environment, can get what is due to them, and your stuff can get to your house that quickly and it be that cheap. It's just not possible. So when that equation looks like it doesn't add up for the consumer, what usually it means is that either the environment is taking a hit. We are, we're driving so much, or we're polluting so much, or we're traveling so much, or we're making sure that the any regulation is getting killed, so that a company can pull this off. Or it means that the workers are either being treated um uh poorly, they're being paid poorly, or they're being run ragged. And so they interviewed somebody who was leading a protest, a strike, really, of workers, and she was talking about the every hour she's expected to do, I forget the number. This massive every hour she's expected to do X amount of packages, and fill X amount of orders out of the warehouse. And because of that, because of this focus on that number, on you must hit um, this many orders, you you run yourself ragged, you get yourself hurt, you can't go to the bathroom, you can't take any breaks, you are paid well compared to other warehouse workers, but you are not given any wiggle room, and there's no excuse for not hitting a quota. And so that's one of the ways that the this cheap product and our need for cheap, fast, immediate products hurts a worker, hurts a person, and not hurts the planet. There's various other ways that our need for that sort of thing hurts the planet, and I'll talk about that later. Sean and Shaggy are going off about Smile, Amazon Smile, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is, yeah, it's a way for your you sign up for Amazon Smile, and then you pick a charity or some sort of nonprofit that you want, and then they basically get a cut of the money, of the profit off of your order every time, and it's Amazon's way of giving to charities. So my question to Shaggy is, what are you connected to for Amazon Smile? Where does your money go? Because I've thought about it for a while, but I don't know where I would send my money. I'm just confused about that. I haven't been able to pick. So, Shaggy, what do you think? What do you send your money to now? What were other ideas that that you were thinking about in sending your money? So what's going on today in Amazon is across the world. So here in America, over in Germany, and I think Spain, there are warehouse worker strikes for at least part of the day, today and tomorrow. And they've explicitly and purposefully chosen Prime Day because it is one of the busiest days in Amazon's year. Because if you take out, typically, if one warehouse strikes or goes down, they redelegate all those orders to other warehouses so that people can get their orders. But on a day as busy as Prime Day, if one warehouse strikes, then the other places are too busy and they can't pick up the slack orders, and therefore Amazon actually starts to feel the pain of a worker strike. And this is good methodology for them to get what they want, and mainly this is about the actual like conditions, about like getting rid of quotas and things like that. They aren't really talking about pay so much this time around, at least from the one interview that I saw. And this is a an exciting opportunity for us as Catholics. One of the things that people forget about in Catholic teaching, Catholic social teaching, is the mountain of rights and things that are given to the worker by way of justice, not by way of charity, not by way of profit even, but by way of justice. Workers are due a lot of things. And this is preached in the catechism. And interestingly enough, it's preached in the catechism in the section on morality. And the section on morality in the catechism is divided by the Ten Commandments. And so they do their best to cover all of Catholic moral thought based on which of the Ten Commandments that falls under. And the stuff about workers and workers' rights and worker compensation, that all falls under the commandment, thou shalt not steal. So in order to, if you give a worker less than their due, if you mistreat your workers, you are violating one of the Ten Commandments. You are violating the Ten Commandment of theft. That's what is at stake here. Traditionally and biblically, this is one of the very few sins that cry out to heaven for vengeance, is the mistreatment of workers. So in all of that, we have the biblical idea and the catechetical idea of what is due to the worker. We have the push for Catholics, or the push in America and in the modern world for immediate things, and we have these workers that are striking today and tomorrow, for better working conditions, for what they regard as justice. And I think for us as Catholics, it is part of our moral fabric, our moral understanding, and part of our duty to respect people that are going on strike, partially by not crossing picket lines, meaning not going to companies and buying from them and being their customers while their workers are on strike. there's clearly a sense of um, of something is off in this company, and the workers are asking for something better. And I always hear um, people are like, well, I want to find out for myself if they're striking for the right reasons, because we've all run into a situation where a union itself was corrupt, which is true. Like there are plenty of unions that have become part of the problem as opposed to part of the solution. But on the other hand, I think that a different Catholic principle can play into this, and that would be like solidarity. Um, I would love to know what exactly is the right answer to how Amazon works with its workers, and I would love to do all the research for myself and find out what's actually going on. But also, I can learn to trust people that are closest to the situation, which are of course the bosses and the workers. And if the workers say we aren't getting our due, at least listen to them. At least let them have that conversation with their bosses. And the only way that workers can have a similar amount of power as their boss, because bosses can hire and fire, um, are is this sort of striking thing. So it's almost like this is politics going on in a non legislative sense. It is the give and take of politics in the only sort of methodology that's uh, available to them. So for us Catholics, we have this possible duty to also or to boycott um, this sort of music. Sorry, the chat going on the side is all about music right now. The song "Rainbow in the Dark," and so I'm thinking about music. But this sort of methodology and everything that's going on with Amazon right now, we should support the worker. That's the side that we should be listening to first, especially when they're not unionized. And it's and let the loud corporate propaganda media element of it fend for itself. There's a lot of that in Catholic social teaching, is that when it all comes down to it, the rich will be able to take care of themselves. The powerful will be able to take care of themselves. So when it comes to what me and the collective society, who are we going to put our effort into taking care of? Because the things we do as a society will always benefit somebody, right? The charity we give, the good deeds we do will always benefit somebody. Our method of giving and taking money will always benefit somebody. We should work our best to make it benefit the poor, the downtrodden, the outcast, the marginalized, because the rich will be able to fend for themselves. They can handle it. And the rich asking for like more mercy than you give to the poor is the real antithesis of um um the real like antithesis of Catholic social ideas. Jules has a really interesting question that I want to kind of give to the rest of the crowd. How can I talk to people about boycotting without sounding preachy? Um, and that's a really good question. I think it's um, I'm trying to think of like how my parents they decide not to buy things based on uh, companies' policies and stuff like that. And it really is just as it can be as simple as I don't do that, or I'm not buying from there, or and when we when we just reference that I'm making this decision for myself, people want to know. And I have similar ideas about like preaching the gospel, where the most powerful thing is what you are choosing for yourself, and letting people come to that. Well, there's always a time to evangelize and propose the gospel and bring it in front of somebody. The bedrock of that has to be the personal. I am choosing this for myself, and there's good reason for me to. And I think the same thing has to do uh, with things like boycotting and things like supporting workers movements like this. It's I'm choosing to do it, and I have good reason to. And if you want to join me, go for it. And I think starting from there, you'll sound a lot less preachy, because at the beginning you are from the very beginning you are not talking at somebody, but you're talking from a good, a good and genuine and good-willed place. If you see me sweating, by the way, it's because it's almost 100 degrees outside. We're going to hit 101 this afternoon, and we are only 10 degrees cooler in the house. And I'm starting to regret this idea to wear the bathrobe every episode because, oh my gosh, it's so it's it's getting a little hot. There's so I The long and the short of it is I really hope that good things happen for Amazon workers, and especially their delivery workers, which is a little bit different than oh yeah, Sean, we're in the 30s in Celsius right now. Sorry. But yeah, we're in the 30s and I'm not having a good time. So the what was I saying? Um the I'm One of the things that I've noticed a lot is how it's actually happened at our house recently is the vans that come to drop off packages from Amazon, they're not Amazon vans. They're with the Amazon logo on the side. There's some random guy's van, and he has a vest on that says Amazon on it, and he's got the little electronic thing, and he's scanning boxes and he's delivering it. And because this is kind of an Uber situation where that guy driving that car, that's his own personal car that he's putting miles on to do this job. That is, and he's being treated not as a hired worker with salary and a contract in terms of employment, but as a contractor, someone that can be picked up and let go in a freelance situation, uh, as as much as he wants, as much or as little as he wants to. And this has been like a thing going on in all of the Uber stuff recently, is when you categorize someone as a contractor, you don't have to offer them benefits. You don't have to offer them retirement. You don't have to. There's all of these like protections for a salaried worker are gone because they are freelance. And so Uber has built its entire company based on you are a contractor, you are not an employee. So all the things that get promised to an employee do not get promised to you. And so there's a whole problem with how like Uber drivers don't really make a lot of money, and they wear down their car the entire time that they're doing it. And I've seen a very similar thing happening to Amazon. And if Amazon is the biggest company in the world by a long shot, and if its owner is the richest man in the world by a long shot, then shouldn't they be able to hire their deliverers? Shouldn't they be able to actually bring on people as employees? That's my yeah, Shaggy's, there it is. No insurance, no bonuses, no cost of living raise, no promises of an employee, just a very simple contract of a contractor, of a freelance worker. And if that's such a it's so skeezy and shady for a company that big to be doing that sort of practice that pushes down what people actually get paid for very real work. It's not like they're doing less work. They're fulfilling the promise that Amazon has of making sure that we get our stuff within 2 days because we have Amazon Prime. And they're keeping that Amazon promise, but they're not getting any of the benefits from it. That is harsh and unjust, and I'm glad that there are strikes in order to counteract that. So I'm not touching Amazon today, and I'm not touching, as best I can, if I can remember, all the other things that Amazon owns. And these are things like Whole Foods, which I don't shop at anyway, and Zappos shoes, which I don't buy from there anyway. So that's easy for me. But and going on to Amazon Prime Video, that's something I do pretty often. So that's something I got to stop today and tomorrow. Do not go onto Amazon or its affiliates today or tomorrow. Help the strikers get what they need, get what they deserve by justice. And I might talk a lot in the future about things like employee-owned companies, worker co-ops and stuff, but I would have to like learn about that more. So let me know if that's what you actually want in the comments, not the chat, but the actual comments to the stream. Because I want to know if that's something you guys care about as much as I am thinking about caring about. I'm like on the edge of should I really dive into this sort of and understand this sort of thing. So that's what I want you to hear from you. Last call for comments. Anything you guys want to talk about? I want to. Um, is that a scapular hanging from the curtain pole right there, Sean? No, that's just a regular old tassel. Sorry, that's a fake Mona Lisa that I painted in like 5th grade. So that's interesting. That's way more interesting than just a tassel, I think, but not as religious. And there's nothing really except for that lovely icon. There's not a lot of religious stuff when you face this way in the room. So sorry, Sean. Please. Oh, Shaggy wants to talk about the map. The map. There's 2 maps. There's an American map and a world map, and a bunch of little tabs with arrows showing all the places someone in the family has been. So a lot of these arrows are me because I've hopped around more than other people, but someone in the family has been to all these places. That's all Europe, right? South America, some of Asia. I know, Sean, right? Isn't the icon the best? It's let me bring it to you. So this is St. John the Baptist, titled as St. John the Forerunner. It's got real gold leaf on it. It was painted by Abbot Damien of the monastery of the Transfiguration in Northern California, and I really like it, so I keep it around, and that's actually where I pray um, in the mornings, which I haven't done today. So that's what that is. Stay tuned. We got an extra good video coming up this week. Remember to go to the Patreon, patreon.com/SteveTM, and remember to support striking workers. And that's all I got to say today. Thank you very much. The pod has ended. Go in peace.